How's it going, everyone? In this video, I am working on an electrical project I have done many times in the past. I think this would be either my fifth or sixth time doing this exact project before, but I thought it'd be fun to record my process and just show you how I work on a project like this. Again, I just wanted to share it. So I'll give you the overview of what's going on. So in this particular room, we would like to hang a 65-inch TV on the wall. And we also want a soundbar speaker, just because the speakers that come with TVs aren't the best. They're kind of junky in my opinion. So we're going to be doing that. But something with wall-mounted TVs is, well, like any TV setup, you have cords. And especially for a wall-mounted TV, there's no good way of running them. A lot of people just run them down the wall and plug them in. I've never liked the appearance of seeing cords like that. I guess there's some alternatives you can do, like using wire mold or some other cord sleeve, just to make it look a little bit nicer, but I don't want to see any of that. So in this video, and for this project, I will be installing a recessed electrical outlet somewhere around here to provide power to the setup, and there's no cords shown. So this TV will just be a wirelessly streaming TV. There's no, I don't need any coax or HDMI or Ethernet ports. So again, I will just be running the electrical for the TV setup. So what I will be doing is cutting open right here, running a wire into the attic, coming over and shooting down to this electrical outlet and tying into it. Something else I will mention is I've always preferred using recessed outlets for wall-mounted TVs just because they give you more space for the plugs and the cords versus traditional outlets that look like this, because your plug would stick out so far and it won't allow you to fully push the TV back against the wall surface. So that's the overview. I think this will be a fun project to work on, as always when I do any sort of electrical project. So I'll show you some of the parts I have. So this is the recessed electrical box I will be using. It is a new or old work box, meaning you can use it in new construction or after the fact when the walls are already up. And this is made by Arlington. They make a lot of neat electrical products for kind of niche applications. And this is a 2-gang box, meaning there will be 2 electrical outlets instead of just one that has 2 plug-ins. Because with this TV, there will be 4 accessories going with it. So I wanted the extra capacity for that. And the actual outlets we'll be using are these. These are surge protector outlets made by Leviton, and I really like Leviton. They are my preferred manufacturer for outlets, switches, and other devices like that. I really like them, but these are pretty neat because unlike your traditional surge protectors that are just a power strip that takes up a lot of space, this is just an outlet. It looks like any other outlet, the decorative style, and it has built-in surge protection. So I have 2 of them that will provide protection for the TV and its accessories while we still have the recessed installation. So that's everything. Let's go ahead and get it started. I have the area traced out where I'd like to install the recessed electrical box and where it will also fit perfectly with the TV's wall bracket. Before I cut the hole for the box, I want to make sure the area does not have any studs, so I am using a stud finder to locate them. Luckily, there are no studs in this area, so we are almost ready to cut the drywall. Now I level the box and trace around it to make the correct size hole. Next, I use a jab saw to make the hole. I will admit the hole was a bit jagged at the end, and using an oscillating saw would have been more ideal. I needed to make adjustments to the hole, and I cut a bit more than was necessary, but luckily the trim plate for the recessed box will hide this. You can see there is a stud to the right of where the box will be mounted. This means I can take advantage of the screw mounting option and allow the box to have more support. My original plan was to tap into this existing outlet. However, once I was in the attic, that particular outlet has 3 cables running to it, and it will be a bit challenging to add on. So instead, we will tap into a nearby light switch that is connected to a light in an unfinished closet space. It will be a lot easier as there's only 2 cables going to the switch, and I have partial access behind the wall where the switch box is. Time to shut off the power and remove the old light switch. I'm testing the wires with a non-contact voltage detector to make sure there is no power in this electrical box before we disconnect the wires. I cut the wires to the switch since it's just easier, and I plan on replacing the switch anyways. I am also going to cut the neutral wires apart. To remember which wire is the switch leg, or the wire going to the light fixture that is switched on and off, I bend a loop in the wire. And I will also cut the black wires apart. Now, back in the attic, I drill a hole in the top plate to run a new wire to the recessed outlet electrical box. It's a bit hard to tell, but you can see the light in the room through this hole. This particular circuit is on a 15 amp breaker, so we will be using 14 gauge NMB cable, or Romex. Next, I feed the cable through the hole in the top plate, which will easily reach the hole in the wall. And I will pull the cable from the wall and make sure I have more than I need. The Arlington recessed box came with a plastic NMB clamp pre-installed, so we will use it to secure the cable to the box. I do prefer the standard metal NMB cable clamps, but these plastic ones are very easy to install and can be helpful in certain applications. The recessed box can be inserted into the wall, and I will tighten down the old work clamps. As you tighten the screw, it will bring this plastic piece closer to the drywall until it is snug and secure. If you remember that nearby stud, we will use it to our advantage and install the provided screws so the box can be more secure. Really, using both mounting methods is kind of redundant, as I could only use one or the other, but I figured why not in this scenario. I'll strip the outer sheathing of the cable to expose the wires. Jumping back into the attic, I will pull the slack of the cable since it's secured in the recessed box now, and add staples to secure the cable in place. Next, I will feed the cable to the switch box with the existing hole, and luckily I can guide it from behind the wall. Now to cut the length I need and push it into the switch box. I added zip ties connected to the existing staples to secure the new cable into place. Back at the switch box, I'll remove the outer sheathing of the new cable. First, I will connect the ground wires, and I wanted to clean the original ground wire as it had some paint on it. I don't personally like these ground wire crimp connectors, and I don't use them, but I will be leaving the existing one in place and use a wire nut for the connection. You may also notice I added an additional ground wire jumper, which will go to the light switch ground. Moving on to the neutral wires, I will cut them to length and strip them back, and I pre-twist them together and screw on a larger wire nut designed for more wires. This is the live or hot wire supplying power to the box, and it's a bit short, so I will add a jumper to extend the wire, then make the connections with all of the live wires, as well as adding a jumper for the light switch. Lastly, I took all of the wires into the back of the box. Finally, we are left with the ground wire, the live wire, and the switch leg. I strip back the two black wires and make a loop in each for the light switch connection. As mentioned earlier, I wanted to go ahead and replace the original light switch and plate with new ones. To wire up the light switch, I connect the ground wire to the green screw and each black wire to each gold screw. And after mounting the light switch onto the electrical box and installing the cover plate, the switch install and rewiring is complete. The final step is to install the surge protector outlets. I begin by adding two ground jumpers and twisting them together and installing a wire nut. Next, I will do the same for the neutral connection. And the same for the hot or live connection. I've tucked the connections into the back of the box and we are ready to wire the devices. I will remove the 4 plaster ears as they are not necessary for this install. Now to strip back the black and white wires. And I will make the wire connections to the outlet. These are heavy-duty outlets and have screw clamps, also known as back wiring, which is an easy and secure method of making the connections. I will do the exact same thing with the second surge protector outlet. I tuck the outlets into the recess box and carefully align and screw them in securely. Now to install the cover plate for the outlets, then the trim plate for the recessed electrical box. Let's turn on the power. And the outlets are now all installed and ready to go. I've turned the power back on, So we can test everything with this little outlet tester. Plug it in, you can see we have 2 yellow lights indicating correct wiring. You can also test the other one with the same result. And yeah, so again, I really like the appearance of these recessed boxes. And of course, the surge protection is a nice feature to have. Something else about these Leviton surge protector outlets is you might notice these green indicator lights. When those are on, that means the surge protector outlet is working properly and ready to protect your devices that are plugged in case of a power surge. But if those lights ever turn off, that indicates the surge protection has failed and the outlets need to be replaced if you'd like to still have surge protection. So really nice overall. I am happy with it. The only thing left to do now is hang the TV. We can test the switch for the closet light and it works great. Here is the TV bracket installed, and you can see how the recessed outlet fits perfectly in the space. Thanks to the recessed feature, the cords and plugs are out of the way and the TV can be easily positioned against the wall. And here's the final product. I think it turned out great. I have the TV fully installed with all of its components, and I have the soundbar installed. I love the appearance. There is no cord shown. It's all flush mount with the wall. And of course, that recessed outlet back here makes it possible. I don't know if I can show it. It's hard to see, but there's all the cords back there. And again, it makes it possible for everything to be nicely organized and neat. That about wraps up this project, which also means that wraps up this video. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you'd like to check out some of the other electrical videos on my channel, I think you would like them as well. And with all that said, that's all for this video. Again, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.